Bad news. My next phone call is whoever needs to hear the bad news.
Bad news doesn't get better with time.
Oh my God. You taught me that one.
Bad news does
Mm,
not get better with time.
amen.
And you know what? When I have that hard call with a client, I pick up, same exact thing. I get the bad news. I'm like, okay, this is really bad. I pick up the phone and I'm like, hey, Denver, I've got bad news for you. I like literally,
Hmm.
because immediately Denver is like, oh my God, this is really bad. She's telling me she's got bad news for me. And then when I tell him something and it's not nearly as bad as he had imagined it, remember when you asked me how many times I'd been married and I said several?
Hmm.
And I told you
I love
that
that anecdote.
several was more than three. And then you said, well, how many times have you been married? And I said three. And you said, oh, well, you're on the low end of several. Very similar thing.
Hmm.
Tyler, I've got some bad news. And you're like, oh my God, it must be really bad. And then it's not nearly as bad as you think it is. And you're like, okay, we can work with this. Do you know what? You have to take action. I mean, my entire life is literally predicated on the road is paved with dead squirrels that failed to make a decision. Like I think about that all of the time.
You
And
said it when we were ordering appetizers at dinner the other night. He was like,
yeah,
do you guys want the spring rolls or the calamari? And I was like, I could go either way. And you went spring rolls. And he walked away and he goes, don't be a dead squirrel.
yeah,
I was like, okay, spring rolls it is.
yeah. And it was a great decision.
It was. They were so good.
And this is kind of the lesson is that if the spring rolls were bad, what would we have done?
Ordered calamari.
Thank you. This is the thing is like, go ahead, like take the action. And, and what I really do is okay, the worst case scenario, what is the absolute worst case scenario? Like somebody just sent me a text and they said, hey, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, what's the worst case scenario right now? And I was like, okay, nobody dies. So whatever the situation is, we'll deal with it.